Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for CharIN's next CharIN Tuesday webinar, the state of the North America market for SAE J3400 deployment. We're really excited to have you all here and share a lot of great information from our panelists today. My name is Erica Myers. I'm the Executive Director of CharIN North America, and I'm really pleased to have three excellent panelists with us today. All CharIN members. We have Karl Holodnick, who is with us from Hyundai, Bill Farrow from CharIN, and Bill Ehrlich from Tesla. First, a little bit about CharIN, in case you're not familiar with our organization. We are an international EV charging trade association focused on promoting standards in the field of charging systems for all types of electric vehicles, using three different standards, including CCS, the megawatt charging standard, and now the North America charging system. We also help promote things like communication protocols such as ISO 15118, and our goal is carbon neutral energy using battery electric technology. We promote our activities through a number of different types of things, including conferences, roundtables, events. We also have a series of focus groups that we support that help iron out some technical challenges that we've identified with the standards and improve constant improvements of those standards. We also have many strategic partnerships, and we host testables, which are testing events for pre-production equipment. We also have a training academy and do a number of different data collection activities for the industry. We are located all across the globe. We have over 300 members currently in CharIN from the EV charging ecosystem. If you're interested in learning more about CharIN and CharIN membership, I'd encourage you to go to our website, charin.global, and check out our membership information page. CharIN recently did a big survey of the industry where we identified North America charging system questions, both challenges and opportunities for this new standard. And we have a little bit of data we're here to share with you today, but we also are going to be posting more information on our website, charin.global, if you'd like to check it out at some point in the future. One of the questions we asked were the benefits and challenges of this new standard technology. And we segmented this based on who responded. So both EV OEMs and EVSE OEMs both identified the top benefit for NACS was better connector design. But both of them also identify the top challenge being non-OEM approved adapters from a safety perspective. Infrastructure and charge point operators identified the top benefit of NACS as consumer demand driven, but also the top location being inlet location challenges. For component manufacturers, the top benefit for NACS was North America focused North America focused technology, but the top challenge for them was the non-OEM adapters. So there's more great data that will be coming out from this survey. We'd encourage you, all of you, to download that at your earliest convenience. And to get us started, we're going to have a presentation from Bill Farrow, who's the co-founder and CTO of CharIN. And Bill, take it away.
Thank you, Erica. Thanks for having me back. And for those of you who don't know CharIN, a 30-second introduction. We aggregate, enrich the largest data set of EV fast charging data in the US. We track availability, reliability, pricing, and amenities across over 12,000 sites in the US. Our customers use our data for site analysis, competitive comparisons, research, and if anyone wants to learn more, you can reach out to me and our team at hello@charin.app. Next slide, please. So for this discussion, actually in the rehearsal, Bill from Tesla said, I want to see more numbers. So I enriched the slide, enhanced the slide a little bit for the group here. So let's just start with the overall state of the US fast charging infrastructure as of last Friday. So Tesla dominates in the US with over 34,000 fast charging ports. The rest of the industry is catching up with almost 30,000. And as we've shown in our last quarterly reports, both parts of this infrastructure continues to grow despite the NEVI pause this year. The industry is on track for a record year with our prediction of over 16,000 new ports to be added by December 31st. So let's break this down for the J3400 NACS plug. Tesla has over 1,800 stations with over 23,000 ports on its network that are open to all, or open to non-Tesla vehicles, either with a bring your own adapter model or the built-in Magic Talk adapter. We've seen, I think, around 99% of the new installs this year have been immediately open to non-Tesla vehicles. And the list of car brands keeps growing. The car brands that have access to the supercharger network. Currently, I think we're waiting on Toyota, VW, and BMW as probably the largest ones still waiting to join the Tesla club with adapters. So alongside Tesla, the rest of the industry has been adding more native J3400 connectors to new and existing charging stalls. The combined group just cracked 1,000 ports, including charge points inverse of the Magic Dock that they call Omniport, which is currently being deployed at new Love's stations that are going up. Less than half the networks listed in the AFDC database actually have deployed at least one NACS port. We see companies like Iona, Mercedes-Benz, High Performance Charging, BP, Walmart rolling out these 10+ stall deployments with a split of either 40 or 50% between NACS and CCS. We've seen Electrify America testing J3400 deployment at test sites in Connecticut and Florida. We know Revel is targeting rideshare drivers, which includes a lot of Tesla vehicles. So we're starting to see a slowly shifting tide, and we're tracking this fairly closely across the industry. So the big question really for the non-Tesla CPOs is, will they come? Will the drivers come? We think the answer is yes, but not immediately. So I pulled some preliminary Q3 data, and I want to emphasize these are estimates. We're all expecting, this banner quarter of EV sales, given the loss of tax credits as of October 1st. So based on currently available vehicles, we're estimating that about 20% of the non-Tesla EV sales this quarter will come with native J3400 inlets. And these are coming from the likes of the Hyundai, Kia, Genesis family, as well as Rivian. With all the announcements that have been made, we're expecting this percentage to increase in the coming quarters. So all of this data is pointing to the fact that we need more J3400 infrastructure in the US. Next slide, please. So if we look towards the short to medium term future, there's an expectation that Tesla will continue to add around 1,500 ports per quarter open to all vehicles. The industry, largely through upgrades and new rollouts, the rest of the industry will continue to add around 300 new NACS ports per quarter. However, earlier this month, Tesla introduced what we think could be a game changer for the charging industry. Tesla Supercharger for Business. It's going to bring hardware, software, and services directly to host sites. I provided a link here to Max Desiger's post on X. He provides a lot of detail. I know Bill Ehrlich later on will discuss this from Tesla's point of view. So I don't want to steal all of his thunder. But from our point of view, we reached out to some of our customers to get their feedback. And our take is that if this offering is price competitive, and we looked at our NEVI bid analysis results, and it's likely to be very competitive. So if it's competitive and the pins show up on the Tesla nav screen without the user having to change any settings, meaning Tesla will automatically include these sites in their default routing, then this will present challenges to existing CPOs selling to site hosts, as well as hardware manufacturers looking to expand in the US. Of course, the ones who benefit from this are EV drivers. They will continue to have more options, as well as the OEMs are going to benefit too. We think that they can use the expansion of the US charging infrastructure, and specifically the J3400 infrastructure, as a way to continue to expand EV adoption. So Erica, I think I've teed this up for Karl to go next to talk about the J3400 from one manufacturer's perspective.
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate this, Bill. This was great information. I'm sure folks will have a lot of questions about this data. For those who are online, if you could please enter any questions you might have into the Q&A section of the GoToWebinar portal. Please feel free to do that during the presentations today, and we'll address your questions at the end of the meeting. All right, with that, we will transition over to Karl, who is our engineering manager of propulsion and charging for Hyundai. I'm really excited to hear from Hyundai, one of the first EVs with a native NACS inlet from the new standard. So that's exciting. And also curious to know kind of what's going on with other rollouts, Karl.
So thank you, Erica. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name is Karl Holodnick from the Hyundai America Technical Center. Erica, I believe I lost the screen there. Are you presently sharing?
Oh. All right.
Better. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. So first off, just to thank you to Erica and the CharIN organization for inviting me to speak this morning. As Erica mentioned, the Hyundai Motor Group has been a part of the CharIN organization for a long time. We believe in the mission, and we definitely believe in the work that you're doing around standardization and improving the customer charging experience. Maybe just a few quick things on me before I start. So I've been in the automotive industry for over 20 years. I've been developing EVs for over 15 years, worked on some of the earliest batteries. I love EVs. I drive EVs. I think they are the future, and look forward to talking today. So I drive the 24 Ioniq 6. It's a great vehicle. It gets around 360 miles of range. If you haven't driven it yet, I would very much encourage you to do that. It's one of the most efficient vehicles on the road. Recently over the summer, I took a trip up to beautiful Lake Superior, Michigan in the Ioniq 6. I drove over 700 miles. And I stopped in the middle of rural Michigan in Grayling and actually had to wait at a charge point 150 kilowatt charger. This was an experience for me. It was kind of an aha moment for me and an eye-opener that I'm in the middle of farmland and I'm waiting to charge my vehicle. I got the sense that we're past the early adopter phase and now more people are buying EVs. Had the opportunity to talk with some folks there. Great experience, but I think it also highlights some of the challenges that we have ahead of us as well, right? As more people buy EVs, they don't want to wait and things like this. So at the Hyundai Motor Group, we are very focused on improving the customer experience. Next slide, please. So first, to level set on the importance of charging features in the vehicle. You can see this was a study that was done by the McKinsey Group. They published their annual reports, something that at Hyundai we keep a very close eye on. You can see the importance of charging related features when customers are choosing to buy or not buy electric vehicles. In that report, there were multiple different questions that were asked. Which of the following aspects are the 5 most and least important for your purchase decision when buying an electric vehicle? You can see that charging speed was number 3 there. It was only behind range and purchase price, and surprisingly ahead of other things, for example, safety. Other question, what would be a tipping point for you to more seriously consider or purchase an electric vehicle soon? Again, you can see we're 3 and 4 there with availability of charging stations as well as higher charging speed. So this is something that we are very focused on as a company, improving the charging customer experience because we know it's very important for our customers. Next slide, please. So what are the specific features that contribute to a good charging experience? So for us, there are a few different things where we stand today, right? I think it's very important on the infrastructure side to make sure that we have chargers that our customers want in the field. You can see some of the numbers that we have here. Apologies to our parent friends if these are slightly different than what you showed. But you can see that between Q4 of 24 and Q2 of 25, that there were 8,000 plugs that were added to the field. On our end, this is great news. We want to continue to see these numbers rising. And especially you can see that the NACS numbers grew as well. So the NACS are up to 49%. It's up 13% from Q4 of last year. And the CCS plugs is up 23% from Q4 of last year. As most of you know, the new vehicles that Hyundai is launching in the field, and as our friend from Perrin had mentioned earlier, our new vehicles all have the NACS charging port, our new electric vehicles. So when we see the NACS plugs up 13% from Q4 of last year, this is something that gets us very excited. We think that it's very important for EVSE manufacturers that are launching new plugs in the field to kind of standardize and commonize around the NACS charging plug. If I'm a customer and I pull up to a charging station, I don't want to wait in line for a NACS plug while I see all of the CCS plugs are open and no one is using them. That's a poor customer experience. So we would very much encourage everyone on the line today to consider going the NACS direction, because that's something that we've done as a company. Also very important is the use of adapters. So again, if I'm a customer pulling up at a station, it's always extra time and extra hassle to have to pull out my adapter to use at the plug. So this highlights the need to commonize around a standard charging plug, both today and for the future as well. Understand that as we start talking about moving vehicles to higher power charging capability, 600 kilowatts, megawatt charging in the future, right? Those discussions always become more challenging, but we would very much encourage our peers on the call today to commonize around a standard charging plug in order to improve the customer experience and not have to use adapters when they are charging. Next slide, please, Erica. So in terms of the most important features to our customers for charging, we really put a very strong focus on the charging power and the charging time. We know that if our customers are pulling up to a station, we want to make sure that they're in and out as quickly as possible, right? And a lot of customers that are deciding what vehicle to buy always compare electric vehicles against hybrid or ICE vehicles. And one of the big negatives is that the charging time does not compare to a fueling time. So this is a very important feature for us as a company. We put a lot of effort and development into reducing the overall charging time, the 10% to 80% charging time. I think this is a very interesting topic, again, as you start talking about higher power charging, get into 600 kilowatt charging, right? And what type of inlet the industry will converge around, the new challenges that come with the higher power, increased heat in the system, upsizing components. You also have safety items that you need to consider and features that you need to consider as battery chemistry is changing in order to be able to handle the power, right? Solid state fuses and contactors to prevent thermal runaway. Interesting topics like this that I think the industry has a lot of work to do as we go towards higher power applications. Other key features that are important to our customers that we put a lot of effort into optimizing. So single app charging, we want to make sure our customers, if they pull up to a charging station. We don't want them to have to sift through 15 different apps on their phone, right? Use a single app to charge anywhere. Plug and charge, this is something that we've launched recently that we're very proud of and put a lot of effort into testing and optimizing to make sure that, again, the total charging time for our customers overall is reduced, as well as Google Charge integration, battery conditioning, etc. One of the other very important things that our customers are focused on is cost. So as we know, and as most of you probably know, most EV customers charge at home. They prefer to AC charge at home. So we do a lot of studies on what is the cost of charging the vehicle per mile compared to ICE vehicles or hybrid vehicles. And we see that in most states, the cost of AC charging is very inexpensive compared to ICE vehicles, but there still are challenges ahead. You can see that there are certain states where the cost of AC charging is over 50% of the cost of fueling your ICE vehicle. So again, I think there are some challenges ahead there, and encourage everyone to focus on reducing cost as well. Next slide, please. Okay, and then where do we go in the future? So again, customer experience, user experience. How can we make it easier for our customers to charge? How can we make it lower cost for our customers to charge? How can we make it quicker for our customers to charge? I don't think we're there yet. I think there are multiple different features that can be added to vehicles to continue to improve the charging experience. One of those features I really see as wireless charging, which is broken down into kind of two components, static and dynamic wireless charging. Both have different use cases, both have different value to the customer. I think if you look at static wireless charging, for example, we've seen that some of our competitors have already launched or are in the process of launching wireless charging. Porsche recently announced that in 2026, the Cayenne will have wireless charging capability. We've seen some announcements from Tesla on the robotaxi that it won't have a charging port. So we really believe that this technology will be here soon in the future, right? Customers can save time and effort by adopting this at home, right? I would prefer to come home, get out of my car, go inside and not have to worry about plugging in the handle. I save time. I think if you look at the technology, how it's developed over time, the efficiency increases over time with inductive charging. It's really made some very big steps and is very close to being commercialized. I think this could be an interesting topic for CharIN. SAE J3400 is a standard that's in discussion right now. I think there are some interesting points in that standard that still need to be worked out. Communication between the vehicle and the grid, for example. So very, very exciting time with some potential activity for CharIN in the future. Dynamic wireless charging. So I think dynamic wireless charging has the opportunity to really be a game changer for the industry. When you look at the possibilities of what can be accomplished with inductive wireless charging while you're driving a vehicle or while you're sitting in traffic, you're driving slow, you're at a stoplight, your vehicle can charge at the same time. So this really has multiple different advantages. I think it has the possibility to be even a better customer charging experience than fueling your vehicle with ICE or hybrid vehicles. Also very interesting topic for us in the future. I think if you look at some of the challenges that are ahead with dynamic wireless charging, safety is a big one, right? Making sure that, you know, if anyone is around the vehicle or under the vehicle, that they're protected. Improving efficiency, I think, is another big one that needs to be improved for dynamic wireless charging in order to get mass adoption. But there are companies that are installing dynamic wireless charging infrastructure in roads today. For example, at the Detroit Central Station, there's a 1/4 mile wireless charging road. As well as Los Angeles, they're building wireless charging capability on the local roads there as well for the 28 Olympics. So also very interesting and exciting topics for us. I think to maybe wrap up the presentation here, we're very focused on the customer charging and user experience, and hope that our peers on the call today also feel the same. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karl. This was great. And again, a reminder for anybody who's joining us online, feel free to incorporate your questions if you have questions for any of our speakers today. And just a quick note on this slide here that I'm showing on wireless charging. Actually, CharIN does have a wireless task force that was launched this year. So folks who would like to participate in that, feel free to go to our website to check out more information. With that, I will turn it over to Bill Ehrlich, who's the Managing Policy Advisor of Charging for Tesla. And Tesla will be giving us perspectives both from the EV OEM as well as the charge point operator perspective. And Bill, this is your second time presenting for us this year. So thank you so much again for sharing your time with us and providing this great information from Tesla's perspective.
Thanks, Erica. This is the second time I've presented, and luckily I have what I think is some new information. Some of it was covered by the other presenters, but always happy to provide an update. My name is Bill Ehrlich. I work on Tesla's charging policy team. I've been here for about 5.5 years, so seen a lot of development over that time. And to start off, I just want to give a shout out to the other Bill at CharIN for providing the data and insights the industry has desired sort of forever. But it's becoming especially important for decision makers and policymakers at this time to have those type of insights. So just really cool to see them come on the scene and provide, really important data that has very quickly helped the industry, and I think people align around what's really happening. Also want to give Karl at Hyundai a shout out. You know, they have been very bullish on the next adapter. They've been making, good EVs across their Kia and Hyundai brands for a number of years, and very quickly adopted MAX standards and got it native on vehicles. So really commendable everything they've done on their side to bring, more charging and faster charging to their vehicle fleet as well. So with that, to turn to the Tesla story, which people are largely familiar with on the charging side, so familiar that it's almost become boring. So we do have some new information, but foundationally, the story has stayed the same for like 10 plus years now. And the philosophy has really been customer centric the whole time. It's my belief that that's really what has enabled people to adopt EVs en masse, has been the charging network, the reliability, and that focus on customer experience. And this hasn't changed, and it's not going to change going forward. So this is still sort of our guiding light to create that convenient and seamless customer experience that's always reliable. We're proud to now do that for a larger audience, which isn't always easy, but has definitely moved the industry forward, bringing the other OEMs onto the supercharger network and providing that access. So, some of the things in the bulleted list there are largely familiar with those who have charged. I think plug and charge is a big one. That's something Karl mentioned. The goal is to get the other vehicles and drivers to have the same experience of ease and simplicity. We already have some automakers who are already there, and looking forward to bringing others to that same level of kind of seamless charging. And then I guess maybe the only other thing I'll mention is the larger sites. You know, you've probably seen Tesla continues to build larger sites that really provides a positive experience and confidence for drivers. Next slide. So on the supercharger network opening, I don't remember exactly whether it was beginning of 2023, beginning of 2024, when Ford came on as the first other OEM. But since then, we have brought most of the automakers onto the network, and the plan continues to be to bring everybody on by the end of the year. So coming soon are BMW, Toyota, Subaru, and Volkswagen. And if you've charged at any Tesla superchargers, you know, over the past 6 or 12 months, you increasingly see other vehicles at our charging sites, and that is definitely, you know, positive for people's range anxiety and just having more options for charging. Next slide. So an update from the Tesla side, which came out relatively recently, is that on the hardware side, there's going to be an upgrade to a new V4 cabinet. So the V4 post is that taller monument style post, which has been providing improved accessibility. It has a longer cable and some other features which, you know, with the knowledge that the network was opening to other vehicles, the V4 post was part of that transition and one of the solutions that enables that to happen in a positive way for drivers. And now this cabinet, the V4 cabinet, is going to start being deployed behind those V4 posts. And some of the things that are exciting about that is it supports up to 1,000-volt vehicle architectures. That enables power levels up to 500 kilowatts for cars, 1.2 megawatts for semi and class 8. That's, you know, different story. That's not a 1.2 megawatts won't be happening over the NACS, but again, that's on the semi side. A couple of the other features, the V4 cabinet, the V3 cabinet would be 1 cabinet to 4 posts. This one was 1 cabinet to 8 posts. So a little bit more efficiency there, lower equipment footprint. And then also, like, the power density is improved. It's a pretty small, compact white box for how much power you can actually get out of it. So again, sort of a smaller footprint, can fit into more sites, and higher throughput with lower costs. So that's an exciting development. You'll be seeing more. Our first sites are in development and coming soon, and that actually, the photo on the bottom there is a test site with an actual V4 cabinet connected to some post charging at a Tesla facility. So this is coming soon. Next slide. The other big update, and this was mentioned by, I think, Bill from CharIN, Supercharger for Business. So this is a tool that will enable accelerated network expansion through hardware sales. So to date, Tesla has done all of the, you know, owner-operator installs themselves, and the hardware has been developed. You know, as an owner-operator, it's really important to have reliable, low-cost, efficient hardware, and now Tesla is offering that into the market through hardware sales. So this is wholly with the intention of accelerating network expansion and inviting others in. to develop their own sites and just purchase the hardware from Tesla. So, you know, it gives the opportunity to leverage the Tesla supercharger ecosystem and is not focused on the EV drivers, which is always the focus, but also now for the business owners, where we're providing sort of all of the tech and the reliable service and removing that, what I think can oftentimes be the hesitation for people. You know, how are we going to maintain these things? What happens if something goes down? So this is an exciting offering. It's relatively new. There is a web page up, and if people are interested, you can reach out through the web page, or you know, you could reach out to me directly, but probably better to reach out through the web page. One thing that I do want to, I don't want to say I want to correct, but on the other slide, the robotaxi said it wouldn't have a charge port. I don't actually know if it will or won't have a charge port. I was searching news headlines. I don't work on that team. I work on the charging team, but just wanted to throw that out there. I would need to confirm whether or not that's the case, but saw some headlines that said that. So sometimes that's where I learn about things as well. And with that, just thank you, Erica, for bringing me back. Excited to share some of these updates and looking forward to having some of these things hitting the network in the near future.
Thank you so much, Bill. That was great. And with that, we are going to get everybody back on the screen and have some Q&A. First, I wanted to ask a few questions that came from some of your presentations today. The first thing I wanted to ask was for Bill F. and Karl. Both of you made a really interesting point about adapters. And I think actually, Karl, you had a quote from Patrick George about adapter hell, which I thought was interesting, and mentioned something about a good consumer experience. And so I was curious to get your take on how adapters play a role in this transition, and you know, some of the things you pointed out, Karl, about the importance of charging speed. Do adapters maybe slow the rate of charge for consumers? How do you kind of envision this transition away from adapters into more permanent inlet locations?
Right. So I think, you know, the industry and the folks on the call and our peers need to start having discussions, right, about where are we going with the industry, right? We know there are EVSE manufacturers that are, you know, in discussion about launching chargers that can charge higher than 350 kilowatts, for example. Right, and now we need to start talking about, okay, then what does the standard inlet design look like as we go to 600 kilowatts, as we go to a megawatt, right? We see that, you know, other countries, specifically China, right, already have megawatt charging. They already have lessons learned from, right, their experiences there that they can adapt to and modify their systems. But I think, you know, we need to start talking about, okay, what does that look like in the future, right? And right, I think the challenges that you're going to have, obviously, as you go to higher power, yes, there will be higher heat in the system, right? And specifically with adapters, you need to think about, right, are the electrical components within the adapter sized correctly, right, in order to handle the heat, in order for the vehicle to be able to manage that heat as well, right? Those are things we're going to have to start discussing, testing, optimizing, right? So yeah, I think, you know, in terms of converging, from our end, as I mentioned, our new electric vehicles all have the NACS inlet. So we are encouraging our peers to kind of, you know, if you haven't made that jump yet, to look at that, because I think it's going to be better for the industry as a whole to be able to pull up to a charger, for example, all with NACS inlets. There will, I would say, continue to be adapters. They will be necessary. The big things we're going to have to start thinking about with adapters are, how do we size them up for higher power capability in the future?
Mm-hmm.
Erica, I'd add to that from a consumer perspective. The concern that I have is actually the lack of understanding and lack of knowledge for a majority of the consumers. Folks on this call, us in the room here, we all know, we would want to have a high quality adapter in place if we're going to use one. I have the Tesla adapter in my car, but it isn't. Most consumers are going to go out and go on Amazon and buy the cheapest thing they buy. So if higher power is coming and the consumer isn't educated, there's just a massive opportunity for a failure here. And either the OEM is going to get blamed or the CPO is going to get blamed for what amounts to a really bad, badly or poorly built connector. So that's my concern. I agree with Patrick's comment. Chuckle every time I see it, but it's hopefully a short-term thing that the industry needs to deal with for the next, I'll say 2 years. It could be longer.
Yeah, and do you think that there might not be as fast of an integration of permanent handles for NACs because folks are relying on adapters, or you think that's just maybe?
I think that absolutely is expected. I really love the ChargePoint OmniPort because it does the same thing that the Magic Dock does, but in reverse, and it shows a way to take some of this consumer pain away, both from buying the wrong adapter to having to carry it around or forgetting it somewhere. So I like that approach as an interim approach. But yeah, it could, why do I need to switch handles if folks already are coming with adapters?
Yeah.
That's probably going to be an ongoing challenge, especially for a lot of the smaller CPOs out there that are deploying regionally based solutions, and they may not have as much funding as the bigger boys.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting insight. I had another question about a couple of your slides related to plug and charge. So this question is for Karl and for Bill E. How has J3400 helped move the needle on the rollout of this feature? And shameless plug, we actually have a state of plug and charge webinar coming up for CharIN on October 14th. So we encourage everyone to also sign up for that webinar if you are interested in this topic. But it was interesting to see your insights on consumer demand for plug and charge and the helpfulness of the feature. So how do you think J3400 has moved internal development of that within your companies?
Okay, maybe I'll start on that one. So I think J3400 overall, I think my first comment there is it's been great for the industry overall, right? If you look at, the charging experience from 5 or 6 years ago to where we are today, if you look at the charging success rates, right, which are very high, right, today, that is due to J3400, right, and OEMs paying respect to the requirements and converging around those requirements, right? It's not perfect, right, as I'm sure our competitors would say as well. It's not perfect. So I think in terms of plug and charge itself, right, J3400 has been great for plug and charge as well, right? It's followed a similar trajectory in that it's given guidelines for us for development. So when we are going to test our vehicles and when we're going to launch our vehicles, we have all of the bugs worked out, right, with the EVSE manufacturers and network providers in the system. So it's really, for us at least, provided a strong framework in order to get the feature to the market quickly with a very high charging success rate.
Any perspectives from you, Bill?
I mean, the main thought going through my head as Karl was talking, was that this is going pretty well. And I mean, for anyone who drives an EV over the time period of the past 10 years, I think people can attest that things have gotten much, much better, more or less on all fronts. And I think plug-and-charge is exciting to me. If I'm being totally honest, I'll be totally candid of why plug-and-charge is exciting. Like, yes, obviously, we want everybody to have the same seamless, easy experience, works like magic. You don't think about it, you plug it in, and you trust that it's going to start charging. And we have that with Ford, Rivian, Hyundai as well. Like, it's been implemented, and the plan is to continue implementing it. But the thing that's most exciting for me with plug-and-charge is we're at a point where, you know, we've seen wild legislative things come up across the country around like cash mandates. I think Arizona had a bill, maybe a couple other states. So we have two futures here. We can either have like cash mandates and you got to put a credit card reader on every single one, which have been points of failure and unreliable. And you got to do all these crazy things that are sort of prehistoric. Or our efforts, oh, did I just,
can't see you anymore. There we go.
Yeah, maybe someone was pulling the hook, you know, like on stage. Was I getting the hook? I was just gonna say,
No.
like, we're at a moment of development and collaboration where all of our efforts can go to sort of doing all of these things that don't provide a lot of, that don't get us to that seamless user experience, or we can like all put our efforts into that plug and charge. This is the future. You plug your car in, it charges. So that's what's exciting to me, is I think we have the option to either focus on getting that done or doing all of these sort of mandated onerous things. And I'm optimistic that we can move towards that future state quickly with everybody. So that's what has me excited.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Bill. I feel like one of the things we don't discuss enough in the industry is the failure point of payment systems that are out today, and that's increasingly becoming even more of an issue than interoperability once was. So now that we have worked out the kinks on interoperability, but payments still is one of those issues that needs some sorting out. And so great to hear your perspectives on how this transition to a new connector standard has also led to better implementation of the features in things like ISO 15118 that can help us address that final piece. Speaking of policy, I wanted to transition now quickly to a policy question around J3400 and introducing federal and state or even utility programs that make or that integrate J3400. And we just saw the NEVI guidance, for example, was released from the FHWA that still didn't mention J3400 or address that at all. So curious to see from you all's perspective how that may be a hindrance to more deployments of J3400 in the next couple of years.
I can start with that, Erica. I think, you know, we've been strongly encouraging states, mostly at the state level, sometimes a little bit more regionally, but A, use their NEVI funds, and B, you know, focus on charging stations that fill out that state's highway corridor, right? What we're seeing is private industry is solving the case of where there's high EV adoption today, right? So they're filling out all those spaces. What's left is really, from our perspective, is for those local governments to make sure that there's equity across the roads in their states, and really encouraging those states to both roll out modern solutions from a hardware perspective, but also to encourage them to document and enforce reliability standards, right? Because again, the connector is helpful. As we've been saying, standardizing on the connector will make everyone's life easier, but there are going to be issues with charging stations. We know, I mean, hardware will fail at particular points in time. They have to be well maintained. So it's pushing the states to sort of do the full package of rolling out the right connector, using their funds wisely, and making sure that they're enforcing reliability.
Karl or Bill, did you have perspective on public funding?
Nothing here.
I mean, I somewhat obviously have a very strong position here. You know, at the NEVI level as well as at the state level, I understand why not all the programs have been changed overnight at the state level, because some of them have regular review points, midpoint reviews every year, every few years. So I guess the hope would be all of the state level programs, when they come upon that review period, they open up the connector standard to include NACS. You know, at this point, I'm not even sure I would say that they need to mandate NACS. I wouldn't necessarily push for that. It should just be open. You know, let people at this moment, that's for the state to decide, but it should at least be open. At the federal level, it's a major issue that's causing frustration, not just in the NEVI program, but it's starting to have other implications around highway signage, where because the NEVI program put the CCS standard, sort of codified it, and state MUTCDs are referencing the NEVI program or, you know, that statute, the CCS thing is now causing issue even outside of funding programs. So the sooner that can be fixed, the better, because the longer it stays, other state statute and things can reference it and cause unintended sort of complications. So that's my perspective.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Transitioning now to questions from our audience. We have quite a few for you, Bill. I'll let you pick and choose which ones you'd like to address here. But there was one question about Stellantis in the Tesla network list that you had shared previously. It seemed that they were not on the list. Is there any plan to add the Stellantis fleet of vehicles to the Tesla network?
It's a good question. I didn't notice they weren't on the list. I would need to kind of ask internally. I haven't heard of any sort of story around that, so we'll need to look into it. I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, thank you, Bill. We can follow up after the call on that question. The next question is, will Tesla provide post-install service on the new supercharger for business model you mentioned in your previous slides?
Great question. I don't know off the top of my head. Like, reach out to the Supercharger for Business if you are interested in that. I guess the only thing I'll say is, as we probably all know on this call, installing the charging stations is the hard part, right? Anyone with some money can buy a charging station. You know, you under the NEVI program could almost get a free one from the government, but like, it's installing and maintaining and doing all of that that's really challenging. So I don't know off the top of my head, but so reach out directly to them through the website. However, I think the intent here is to accelerate network growth by providing the hardware so that we're not the only ones doing that part of the installation, and we're sort of amplifying what our team's already doing and having others doing installs of the hardware as well. So without a final answer, my sense is we probably aren't, but you have to check.
Okay, thank you. The next question is for you, Bill, but also feel free to answer, Carl, about non-EV OEM approved adapters or adapters that are not using UL2252. So many of you probably realize CharIN has issued multiple statements about adapters, and our position being that we encourage consumers to use OEM approved or UL2252 approved or charge point operator approved adapters for multiple reasons, primarily which are safety issues. But is there a particular position from your perspectives, Bill and Carl, on transitioning to a more rigorous standard like UL2252?
So I think from our end, we really encourage our customers to use HMG approved adapters, right? I think, those are the adapters that we test to. Those are the adapters that we have a high confidence level in. Those are the adapters that we see a very high charging success rate.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of our blanket company statement on that one, right, is if you want to have and ensure a successful charging experience, that you should use the HMG adapters with HMG vehicles.
Okay, thank you. Bill?
Me, Bill? Or
Yeah,
other Bill?
yeah, exactly. Bill Ehrlich, yes.
Oh, what was the question?
About transitioning to a more rigorous adapter from Tesla using UL2252.
A more rigorous adapter from Tesla?
Yeah, the rigorous standard. UL2252, which just was, from what I understood, finalized this year.
We haven't been making the adapters for the other OEMs. So, like, as of right now, I don't really have a position on it. I think, yeah, because if the OEMs have been providing the adapters directly to their customers to use with the Tesla superchargers, we haven't been providing the adapters for some time now directly.
Okay.
So I don't really have a strong position.
Okay. All right. Well, we are at time. So I wanted to thank you all so much for taking an hour out of your day to join us for the CharIN Tuesday webinar. And for those questions we were not able to get to, we will circulate those questions to our panelists and circulate the responses following today's call, as well as the recording and some summary notes that we'll circulate to everyone who registered as well. We hope you all can join us for our next CharIN Tuesday webinar on October 14th. Please feel free to go to our website and register at your earliest convenience for that. And with that, we will give all of our panelists a round of applause. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
I know.